You could line it up. You would line it up.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? This is Shane Davis.
And I am Brandon Fountain, and we are
The Controlled Burn. We have a very, very special guest today. Our very first in-person celebrity.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, celebrity. We'll take it.
Yeah.
He has been on the news. Matthew
That was almost a good timing.
Phillips. It was close. Very close.
What's up, man?
It's good to be here. You know, that is actually the first time I have heard the intro song to your podcast.
Real life?
We've been doing this for how long?
But
I've
hold
never
on.
heard it.
You hear the intro song when you listen to the episodes, though, right?
Oh, I normally skip that part.
You pay for the intro song.
I've never heard it. I'm sorry, guys.
Do you like it?
It was good. It was good.
That
Get you hype, you know?
I made that on Zoho is what it was. Yeah, artificial intelligence AI.
Oh, what? Yes.
No,
No,
I
you're
made
right.
it.
It's the name was off, but what?
There
Suno.
you
Bro,
go.
that is the best. Have you ever just got on there and just? Well, of course you have,
Yeah.
bro. That's a good AI.
I've made songs for my children, for my dogs. I've made songs for me, just when I just need something going. You can spend a lot of time accomplishing nothing
Oh yeah,
on Zoho.
Suno.
Suno. That's what. Yeah, it's gonna be Soho.
Shane is the king of slightly off names. I mean, we've had aphids. We've had
Well, once it's imprinted,
We went straight there.
Yeah, right, straight to. All right, we're back at it. Yeah, throw us under the bus, and let's always preface this: nobody sitting in this studio are scientists.
No.
Me and Brandon, I can speak for us. We're a couple of 1-2 dummies.
Yeah.
Matthew,
Matthew's a little bit smarter than us.
He's not like crazy amount, but very differently.
He's
for
not
sure.
our paycheck, so he's
but
smarter than us.
we're a couple silly geese. We're here to have fun. So please don't take any compliance advice from us or from this show.
Isn't that the truth?
This is for entertainment purposes only, which is pretty much describes my existence.
Yeah. No, we're going to be wrong. We might be right a couple times, but either way, treat everything as,
Pretend like everything we're saying is most likely wrong.
yeah, that's the best way
Just
to look at
enjoy it. Just laugh.
So, I know if you guys haven't noticed, we've got a new setup, new studio. We're pretty excited. We got some new microphones that we're going to actually get to start having guests on. Our phones are probably going to be blowing up this week as soon as this drops.
Someone's gonna be talking shit.
It's
I
not.
can think of two.
we got a few people lined up. It is coming. Be patient. We have not forgotten about you. We absolutely want. We want like a whole variety of guests on. We kind of want to touch every part of the industry in the most politically correct way possible. We don't want to inappropriately touch any part of the industry, but. No, so kind of what I think makes us, unique. I mean, you could probably plug and play a lot of words there, but with OKCTL, there's just a big gap with our industry in the actual laboratories. One thing that we did notice, a lot of the people who are doing this testing, they may or may not have even been to a dispensary. A lot of people don't have patient cards, not been to a grow or a processor. So we're trying to bridge that gap together. We all are living in the same world, so we should probably get to look behind the scenes in every which way. We love bringing people to the lab and doing walkthroughs. That's something that, and not to, dog anybody, definitely don't want to start out this way, but I've been to a lot of other laboratories in Oklahoma. Man, it's just a very broad spectrum of what you're walking into. When you walk into OKCTL, and one thing that I really, really appreciate being on the sales side of it is, it feels like an actual medical laboratory. Like it feels, it's clean. That's a big thing. I've walked into places before that it's like you're walking into a jungle before you ever make it to the desk, and to me that's crazy. But I love bringing people to OKCTL and actually getting to meet the real smart people. I call them my smarts. Anytime I have to answer a question, odds are I don't know the answer, but we have somebody who's very qualified who does. And we like showing that off.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it's kind of interesting. I was talking to a grower processor earlier this week, and they mentioned to me that right there that you just mentioned. They walked in 2 labs in the same day. We were the second one. The first one they walked into, and as soon as they opened the front door, they were in the lab. Like,
Yeah.
instruments, people in lab coats or not. And they handed somebody their samples at a desk in the laboratory. And then they walk into our lab, and it feels like a medical office where you walk in and there's a reception area. You talk to the person at the front. Like, you can obviously see that it's a lab, but there's a clear separation.
Oh, it's kind of, I mean, in my brain, it would feel like it should be common sense. And I'm just kind of blessed that this is not something I've ever had to worry about because we've just got the right people in the right spots. But I mean, yeah, like I've walked, just like you said, the biggest issue that our clients have, or anybody's clients have in Oklahoma, if they're doing it right, is mold. We've talked about it several times. We're going to talk about it several more times. We are, I mean, right in the thick of summer. We had some rain last night, so humidity is insanely high right now. We've got some rain coming next week. It's just, we are in the environment that grows mold everywhere you go. We do have an accredited microbiologist on our team now, and I don't know the numbers. I'm going to tear this up, but it's something like when you get into a certain temperature, like I'm going to ballpark it and say 75 degrees. Once you get to that level, your odds of multiplying mold, I mean, it jumps to this insane number. Then you jump up to 85, 90, 100. When you're driving in a vehicle, and we offer free sample pickup all across the state of Oklahoma, and there's a ton of transporters out there. Our clients are bringing their own samples to us. If you put your product in the locked case that's required by law, in the very back of your vehicle, and you have the AC on full blast on the front to where you're growing icicles off your nose, the trunk of your car, the back of it, is still living in the high 80s, 90s, 100 degrees. So the chance of mold growing is crazy. And we implemented something. We started this last year. But we have everything at a close to freezing temperature. So it's not freezing. It's not going to change the actual chemistry of your product, but it prevents that growth of mold so much. And everything that comes through us is climate controlled from the beginning all the way to the end. And we see that, I mean, it's drastically helping people.
Yeah, no doubt. I think that's important too. I mean, we're not growers obviously, but the growers I've talked to are doing the same thing in their facilities. They're maintaining that constant temperature and trying to keep things consistent. So for us as a laboratory to take that extra step and do it all the way through just makes sense.
Oh, it's huge.
And the big thing is, guys, if you have questions, if you have concerns, if you're curious, we don't have there's no great secret, there's no great secret behind the curtain, in the laboratory. I mean, this science, first of all, has been around for a couple hundred years, or 100 years at least. Hit up me, hit up Shane, hit one of us up, email the lab, call the lab. If you want a tour, come by. We're going to walk you through the lab. There's nothing that's a secret. Obviously there's a few areas that we don't walk to for obvious reasons. We don't like to go behind the sample prep area. There's samples under a vent hood or under a positive pressure hood there that are getting sampled out. We don't want to risk contamination. Obviously, the reason we use the positive pressure vent hood is to, lower that chance anyway. But it's a clean environment. We don't want to we don't want to truck with it. Same with microbial. Everything else, which even those areas are 100% visible from somewhere else in the lab.
Yeah, we're an open book. I mean, a lot of people like to throw around the transparency word. I think arguably we were probably one of the first labs that invited our clients into our laboratory to tour the facilities and walk through the actual lab. And yeah, like say we don't let people go and stick their hands in vent hoods and stuff, but you can absolutely see how our lab flows, where your samples are going, all while your samples are being checked in. And if you really wanted to, you could stay and watch the whole process, but that'd be a long day for everyone involved. So,
A long 3 days.
Yeah, long 3 to 4 or 5 days.
3 to 5 business days, gentlemen.
Absolutely, yeah. And you would have to stay overnight because while employees don't work overnight, all the equipment's working overnight. So testing doesn't stop.
Yeah, I think every piece of equipment we have pretty much operates overnight as far as actual analytical instruments.
Yeah, especially on the chemistry side for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love it, man.
You say yeah like you know. I have no idea.
Listen, bro.
Here's the thing. My
I know
faith is
everything.
100% on the people operating those machines.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know anything. I mean, when we jumped on this side of it, because we came from the other side, I like to say, you know, I jumped over to the dark side a couple years ago a lot of time to make a ha-ha. But, I mean, we really have, I mean, all the equipment. I mean, I know, and this is another thing, I ain't trying to dog nobody, but the amount of places that I've seen, just from like equipment failures, having to outsource and send stuff here, send stuff there, you know, not even to mention the ones that'll get different departments shut down. But we have the equipment, we have the backup equipment, we have the ability to service our customers in a way that just, I think, kind of sets us apart. And especially so, I mean, you know, I know the elephant in the room right now is one of our competitors in the space was shut down last. We got the notification not this last Friday, but the Friday before,
August 8th.
August 8th at like 4:50.
The day our industry was rocked.
I mean, completely rocked, and we still haven't had a final resolution from it. And so we do kind of, you know, have to toe the line on how exactly we tackle this. But this has made national news at this point. I was on my like Apple News scrolling through. Saw Fox had shared something about this. I mean, this is, and we haven't even hit a recall yet.
We may not.
Well, and that's the thing. It's. I know they're trying to figure out the most efficient way, or at least one would assume that they're trying to figure out the most efficient way to do this. But based on what we do know, based on the facts from 2023. I'm not quite sure on the actual month and day, but from at some point in 2023 to now, certain data that was getting put out, I think specifically microbial data, isn't accurate. Is that a way to say it? Or
it was determined it was not compliant, I believe, is the proper way to verb that, Matthew?
You know, at the end of the day, I don't think they've really said. The erroneous testing is one thing I think that OMA released when they announced that 19,000 packages had been flipped to test status failed for erroneous testing.
That number bugs me, right?
It's a weird number.
Well, the problem with it, at least the problem that I have, and the way that I understand this, the way that it's been broken down to me is how we got to that number is anything that was submitted for testing or on a dispensary shelf. If it had any detectable limit of total yeast and mold, they flipped everything to test failed that had a detectable limit. So the fail limit is 10,000 CFUs, which are colony forming units.
Correct. Per gram.
And so 19,000 is a fraction of what, in my brain, like if I'm going down the common sense path, you would imagine that from 2023 on that date that they determined to now, every sample that ran through there would be affected because you
would think. I mean, it definitely calls into question what happened, and I think it's a really tough position for us and patients and everyone because we don't really know. At this point, all we've been told is 19,000 packages. I don't know if that's 19,000 samples or is that the children packages as well. So, I mean, we could only be talking about 3,000 samples that they tested that then had multiple children packages that all had that test status changed.
I see what you're. So you're saying it could have been like the batch.
Yeah.
And then
the production.
Yeah,
and then it could have been in
Source
20
batch,
different
whatever.
dispensaries, and then ultimately all of those are counted as 20 packages plus the original. There's so much unknown information, and I think that's probably the weirdest part about this is the entire way it was done is unprecedented. We get a warning from OMMA that there may be a problem, and then a few days later we get notice that 19,000 packages are flipped to test failed. So I have a question for you guys. I know this isn't my show.
Hey, we do the questions here.
But I'm curious. Like, I have some inside knowledge because we get to talk at midnight every night and
Sure.
catch up on the day. But what has your guys' life been like since 5 o'clock on August 8th after that initial notice went out? What are customers calling you? What are they saying? Where are they at? What has the impact to you guys personally been? Because I know it's been significant. I mean, I got my first phone call 8 minutes after that post went.
So, crazy. Absolutely nonstop busy with phone calls, text messages, with a very wide array of responses to it. I've had stuff from, they're going to be just fine. This is going to be real temporary. You can have my business in the meantime. Is that me? Did I do 2 shows in a row? Am I 2 shows in a row?
Does that shock anybody?
I can talk today because I put mine on silent a second ago. Last time, didn't mine go off directly after? Yeah. I started to run my mouth and whoopsie. But no, to jump on that, it hasn't stopped.
No.
Since 5 o'clock on Friday. And the biggest thing, which first off, turnaround time has been the number one. How fast can you have it? How fast can you have it? And so we're in a position right now where, I know me and Brandon have both gotten on the road a couple hours early every day. Haven't gotten back until dark every night, getting home around like 10 o'clock every night. Which at the end of the day, we're here to help. So we'll put in the hours. We're not Walmart. Me and Brandon are not a Monday through Friday team. We tell all of our clients every time, at every new meeting, every new opportunity, we are 7 days a week, 24/7. We have customers call us at insane hours of the night, insane hours early in the morning, every weekend. This has been, I think, from my perspective, a huge opportunity for the people who have made the transition to us to learn and to grow from it. Because this is one thing I know I had, and this is 100% fact. I can speak on this. This is not speculation. I've had clients that had issues with me 2 years ago.
Felling for mold, not issues with you personally.
No, right. Yeah, felling for micro. And then they made the transition back, and we're at a point now where we've gotten a lot of those first initial results back.
A lot of them failed.
Well, and they're failing at the exact same levels.
You know, you want to hear something wild? I don't think I've even told you guys this yet. I've talked to 2 labs. There were a few labs in the industry who way discounted the testing for microbial retest because, as we know, they had to have 2 retests to overturn the fail.
And you have to run total yeast and mold and aspergills.
And full microbial. Yeah.
OMA doesn't
Twice.
separate either of the micros. Like, that's for reserve retesting or anything. If a micro fails, all the micro they look at it like pesticides, basically. So it's not just that analyte you test for; it's the whole
panel. So what's crazy is I've talked to now 3 different people who were running a substantial amount of these tests, like upwards of like 2,000 tests in the last week between these 3 people. Over 2/3 of it are failing.
Yeah. And
that's not being talked about on Facebook, guys.
At all.
There's like 3 people on Facebook saying, "Hey, we passed everything," but 2/3 of the samples these labs have ran they're saying they failed.
Well, and what
That's a lot.
There is two ways to look at that as well. So I got to be real careful here. We know from experience that customers that came here and failed, left. We know that some of those customers went there, and we know they stayed there.
And are very happy.
And seem to be very happy. I've had very few. I've actually had multiple customers, but I've actually had one specific customer that I'm thinking of talked to me on the phone and said, I asked him, hey, you guys happy with your lab? You want to come back? Anything we could do for you? Brandon, I love you. I love everything about y'all's lab, but I just can't afford to fail anymore.
It's real life right there.
That came out of their mouth.
Yeah.
that should make everybody sick. Like it's the negligence that's happened, and I honestly I have little faith that it's going to be handled properly moving forward. It's something that, I mean, it's super disheartening. There's several groups out there that make it their life's mission to look out for the safety of Oklahomans and Oklahoma patients. This is something, for whatever reason, they've decided to not travel this path. And instead, they go after individuals. Everybody that's operating legally in Oklahoma has to have products tested. And if as close as you can get to knowing, we know that it's not a level playing field as far as laboratory testing. We know this. Absolutely. We see it. It's not speculation. We actually do see it. And I've got, over the next 2 days, I have got in-person meetings with some big brands who they see it. They know that they had an issue. And 2 years ago, it was easy to be like, I don't think I believe you. I'm going to try this person out. They have not failed a test since, and they come back to us. And I mean, I looked at 2 years ago testing. I mean, it's the same exact levels. Mm-hmm. So they haven't changed anything in their SOPs. They haven't done anything to help fix the problem. But now they know that they have that problem, so they're willing to spend the time, the money, the effort to fix it. Because I'm like, give me an opportunity to get you compliant and get you safe. And at that point, if you hate me or you hate Brandon, you could go to any lab in the state of Oklahoma and have safe, passable products,
or know what to do to get there. Yeah.
Right, but if you're constantly passing and you never know that you have an issue, how on earth would you know to fix it?
For sure. Something I've noticed too is, this industry, testing labs have always had the bad rap. Like, we've always been the bad guys in the industry, for lack of better words. Whether it's we're making too much profit, or we're charging too much, or we're the only ones in the industry making money, which is all hilarious to me because, I mean, speaking from somebody who hasn't gotten a paycheck in 9 months, right. I would love to be making money. But it's just not the case. But we've always been the bad guys. So what does this situation do to us now? Like, does it drive that narrative that labs are bad and that you can't trust anything the labs do anyway?
How could it not? If I'm sitting from that perspective, and me and you have talked about this before, we've had situations where we've had people fail for XYZ and then go somewhere else and pass, and then look at us like
we're wrong.
Right. And coming from that perspective, of course, you've got no actual reason to believe one or the other, and that's why we do have that transparency. We will sit down and have the hard conversations. We will show you why using us is the safest, best way. And it's not a sales pitch. It's not bullshit.
I think it's very real. Like, when our clients fail, it hurts our business. We don't want our clients to fail. We want 100%. Our clients to be safe. We want patients to have access to safe medicine. It hurts our business in every way. So why wouldn't we want to help? Why would we ever intentionally fail somebody? There's no reason.
I had a good question today, and not to get too far off what we're talking about, but it is on this topic. But Had a customer ask me today, what are my options after a fail? And I then told them, well, you can remediate, decontaminate. You can always test the reserves if you think there's a chance that maybe it could have been a single source contamination on the primary, which that's a whole other topic. But or you can destroy it, right? Obviously, destroying it for microbial before a retest, before if you've got, especially if you got a ton of it in the batch, I think that's if I were a grower, I wouldn't do that.
Just not enough biomass on the market right now.
Yeah,
to
I would
justify
not.
destroying
I
it.
would at the very least pay for the reserve retest. Oh, and then especially if I had a ton of it, I would try to remediate it or decontaminate it. So with us, we have a process for reserve retesting. So you have to request it in writing via email to quality@okctl.com. We charge you. It's the only retest currently. Now, there is talks there that may change, but we'll see. But as of right now, currently, that's the only reserve retest that we charge for. The reason for that is that there are still a ton of outdoor growers in this market that know that their product is likely going to fail, especially if they're not doing anything to prevent that. We can't just give away free reserve retest for microbial because, number one, that is the most expensive test we run in-house, cost-wise, cost of goods to us, and labor even. It takes the most labor to do that test. Mm-hmm. So it is the most expensive test we run. If we don't charge for it, then every outdoor grower specifically, or grower period, will absolutely bankrupt us because everybody will say, well, yeah, hell yeah, let's run the reserve retest because if it passes, I get a few more bucks a pound for this biomass, right?
Absolutely. Doesn't cost me anything. Why not?
Right, yeah. Exactly. So why we charge for it is to deter the people like that from doing it. And there are specific requirements in ISO and things that we can't just pick and choose what customers we can give it for free or not. Now, we can offer discounts and we can do things like that. We can comp them here and there for specific reasons or not, but we can't just blanket pick and choose who we like. So our policy is if you fail and you run a reserve retest, we charge you up front. It is thanks to OMA's new rule or maybe not a new rule, but clarifying that they can't be separated. We have to run aspergillus and, total yeast and mold, full microbial panel, even if it's just a total yeast and mold fail.
And yes, if you fail something else on the retest, still a fail.
Yeah. And so we charge, it's $100 a retest, so $200 total because the state says you have to have 2 passing reserve retests to overturn a fail. If you fail that test, you're out the money, yes. Mm-hmm. But if you pass that test, we credit that $200 to your account to go towards your next round of testing or to use for whatever else. We don't offer any other services besides testing, so can't use it on merch. But yeah, and I hope that
I'll be your friend for $200.
I hope people realize that is our way of trying to say, hey guys, we're not charging you to get a pass. We're not trying to cash grab you, but we're charging to deter people that don't think there's actually a chance that they pass from just abusing it. And if you do pass, we credit it back to you to show you, hey guys, we didn't just charge you for a reserve retest so we could take your money. But yeah, I thought that would be a good thing so that people would know, because that is a question that I get asked, especially now, a lot. I have got that question a lot since last week.
Well, it creates
really this week.
An incentive. It puts, the way I explain it to people is it gives you a dog in the fight. If me and Brandon are very, very good at looking at these COAs, which are the tests, and determining if it was the advice we're going to give you is, basically if this was our money, our investment, our grow, would we roll the dice, spend that money to run the reserve retest? I tell all of my customers, let me sit down in my office, look at your COAs, work through it, and I'm going to tell you just like I would tell myself or my brother if he was running it. If you have 200,000 CFUs of total yeast and mold, 3 aspergillus hits, I'm going to tell you to not run that reserve 10 out of 10 times. If you have 0 detectable total yeast and mold and 1 aspergillus hit, that's not Aspergillus niger, I'm going to tell you to run that retest 10 out of 10 times. And that's kind of a a little kind of weird thing I wanted to throw out there.
Yeah, Aspergillus niger seems to be the one that if you fail it on your primary test, there's a higher chance that you're going to fail it on your reserve test. But let me make this very clear. Again, total yeast and mold, the way we test for it at our lab, and I think pretty much every lab at this point, is we plate for it. Plating is solid. It is just a lot of times, unless you're right on the line, if you do a reserve retest on total yeast and mold, it fails the reserve as well. Like I said, unless it's right on the line. Now, sometimes there are anomalies. It is mold. It is. I mean, I tell people to think of it like you look at a loaf of bread. Mold doesn't grow all over at the same time. It starts in a spot or a couple spots, and as time goes on, it will spread to different spots of the bread until it fully encapsulates it. You can manipulate how fast it does it by whacking that bread bag, and it will spread even faster. Aspergillus, we don't use a method that is, I would say, as bulletproof as total yeast and mold plating because it's PCR.
You wouldn't say that?
I wouldn't.
You wouldn't say that?
I'm trying to be careful here. But
I hate you, Carrie Mullis.
PCR testing is the standard in most states for it for multiple reasons. One, to grow out, if you wanted to plate for Aspergillus, some of those strains that you would have to grow out take 7 to 10 days on a plate. We're not in an industry where people want to wait 7 to 10 days just to maybe have to wait 7 to 10 more days if they need a retest. PCR process is a lot sooner.
I bet you they'd rather do that than how it is today. Because when you go, as soon as you got to run that reserve, there's 3 days. You're already at that 7 days.
Problem is we can't do both.
The problem the biggest problem with PCR method is it does not quantify.
Allegedly.
It doesn't. We're not counting, so you don't have that 10,000 CFU limit like you do with total yeast and mold. That's the problem with it. If it did quantify, if there was a way to do it, then
if the state allowed us to quantify it, that's the problem.
At the end of the day, technically, we could quantify it. Not using personally, I don't think you could use PCR to effectively quantify it. I actually got engaged in a comment on Facebook today about that. But at the end of the day, you could quantify Aspergillus, but at the end of the day, OMMA says 1 CFU is a failure. So why do you care if you quantify it?
Which,
if you have 1 CFU, it's a failure.
Go buy a tomato from Walmart.
100%.
And run that through testing and see what happens.
I'm personally all for OMMA mimicking other industries' testing requirements, and like especially in the edible world and things like that. Yes, we should mimic what other agencies have done, what other federal agencies have done. If we don't require this stringent testing on our chocolate that we go to the store and buy, why should we on our chocolate cannabis bar?
Well, I would be interested to see tobacco like standards because
you don't smoke that.
You're right. It's you combust.
You don't want to get into that argument.
Oh, no,
you're talking about a multi-billion-dollar industry that will squish that argument.
Yeah, no, we want to get into that argument, but we don't want to get into
it. No, we want to get... Well, because let's say... Because there's no shot they're running the PCR Aspergillus like we are on cigarettes. There's no shot. I've never seen it. I don't know anything. Maybe there's a world where that is. But I would say that those big business tobacco companies are a lot more squared away than we are as an industry. We're very, very young in Oklahoma in cannabis. Because if you look at there's states like Oregon, Washington, I'm missing one. They did put their heads together and use a little bit of common sense, and they were like, "This isn't. How is this a safety test?"
I think Oregon is the only one that got rid of Aspergillus.
There's
more. Yeah, there's
multiple. At least per another lab's report they published.
Well, and there's I had somebody, and I tell people we don't kiss and tell here. I'm not ever gonna put anybody's private conversation information out, but I did sit with a owner and lab director at one of our competing labs, and then this was I don't know, a few months ago, and we sat there and talked, and the Grim Reefer from Medicinal Genomics is something that people do use. You, the way the rules are written, you are not allowed to use it.
Well, it's
you can use it in accordance with the manufacturer's guidelines, but
are you sure?
But
Well, the problem with that is the PCR.
If
You
you
have to
don't-
do manufacturer guidelines with it, which
Correct.
does not include
correct.
the Grim Reaper.
You must apply, and I'm not a scientist, I'm not a microbiologist, but if you don't apply the lysis buffer, I believe it is, to counteract that Grim Reaper, then it's just going to keep eating. And it's not a matter of if you don't apply it ever, it's a matter of if you wait an extra 5 minutes, it's going to keep eating and
Gotcha,
eating and eating.
gotcha.
And really quick, on the topic of tobacco, I'm not trying to lean into this but too much, but one thing I will say is this is a medical state. We are
That's fair.
technically testing a medicine. And when you go to the pharmacy, what required testing you have to go through to get there, I mean, not to mention the clinical trials and everything like that you have to go through.
Well, and that's if it reschedules.
Well,
Right.
But I'm just saying in general, as of today, we're a medical state. So our requirements are 100% should be in line with medical testing. So having additional requirements on us as opposed to like tobacco isn't unheard of, because that isn't
fair
medicine.
Point. Fair point.
But let me just say this too. I would love to see, and this is just, I'm playing devil's advocate.
Sure.
That's all. I would love to see more than one, or even one really well written paper, scientific paper, research paper, showing how likely you are to have an infection in your lungs from yeast and mold or
Sure.
aspergillus by consuming it via smoking, inhaling, like combustion.
Yeah.
Like
Right,
it could be,
right,
it's
right.
combusted and then goes in your lungs.
The most,
Because I would bet
yeah.
that from now, this is just what I've quick research is that mold is rendered ineffective at about 140 degrees Fahrenheit. I don't know what the time it has to be that at, but I think it's somewhere around there. I may be wrong. Once again, I'm not a scientist. I'm a Google guy. The
Or ChatGPT.
coldest fire. The coldest fire. There's actually a term for it. It's called cold fire. Swear to God. Google it. Is like mid 400s. The average temperature of fire is about 500 degrees Fahrenheit per Google or ChatGPT, one of the two. Now, Magnus has done me wrong before, but, you know, for shit like this, he's usually pretty solid. Cole.
I'm gonna rain on your parade, bud.
Okay, well, hold on. I mean, before you rain, Cole made a really good point when we and him had this chat. He said, if it were up to him, which it's definitely not, but if anything, we would be testing for yeast and mold and aspergillus and posting it on the COA, but not failing for it, just letting it be an indicator of quality. And the only people, if anybody, were going to be failed for yeast and mold would be edible manufacturers. And that makes a ton of sense. Or insertables, inhalants, something like that.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
I think you're onto something there. I do think total yeast and mold is more of a quality indicator than it is a safety test.
Agreed.
Personally, total yeast and mold. But when we start talking about aspergillus, there's some real health risks there. And you got to know your stuff there. You got to be very careful, because I want to say, like Aspergillus niger,
That's black
I
mold.
agree. Black mold will die under heat over a prolonged amount of time.
Yeah.
So you lighten up a joint and inhaling it is not a prolonged amount of time. We're talking like 10, 15 to 30 minutes at like 250 degrees.
That's why I said I would like to see the temperature. I'd like to see something that indicates you could smoke it by pulling it. Now, there's also the, you know, if it's in your joint and you put it in your mouth and dry pull it before you hit it, maybe that can get you sick. I don't know. But also,
I think it can make you sick if it hasn't.
I've
if
got
it
a
hasn't
pretty-
had time to
see a paper
sterilize
on
it. Yeah.
I'd like to see a paper on it. But also, pretty
Do you think
sure
anybody's going to volunteer to do that
I don't
study?
know. I don't know.
I
mean,
wouldn't volunteer.
People have done worse. I mean, somehow they got answers on other stuff. But also, I read this. Now, I may be wrong, but once again, it's just me reading. Pretty sure that the only like people that are at risk for aspergillus infections are people that are like, I don't know if it's genetically dispositioned or just somehow or another dispositioned to it, which is like less than 10% of the population
Sure.
per Google.
Yeah.
So
I think it's an interesting idea, and I don't know that we would ever be the proper lab to do a paper like this,
Too busy.
Oh, yeah, way too busy. And I just don't know that we're not at the end of the day, we're a cannabis testing facility. We're not a research lab.
I've got a pretty good study that I could share with you guys. So I mean, it's like
He's about to throw real wisdom down.
two year long from 2023 to 2025. I mean, there wasn't a lot of people die, from smoking.
Like 0 to date, I think.
Like zero, and we do know that the micro data on a lot of stuff people were buying from dispensaries was not good, and we do know a lot of them test are failing now. Ooh. So I would be willing to wager there's been a lot of people smoke some pretty aspergillus-y
I'm just saying, bro.
marijuana,
I smoked some Mexican
and
dirt
they didn't
weed
die.
My whole childhood. I know Matthew was probably the most wild out of all of us. So there's no telling how much he smoked. However, we were fine, bro. I know for a fact I smoked some toenails, fingernails.
It's a bummer because I want to say it's bullshit, right?
I get
but you can't. But
the
problem
rules.
I have with it is, do I think if there's a little bit of mold and a little bit of pesticides and maybe even a little bit of metal in your marijuana, are you going to die tomorrow? No, because like you just said, we've been smoking who knows what for decades.
And to be fair, we also have a bunch of shit wrong with us, so there may be
that's fair. That's 100% fair. But if people were actually dying, then there would, I think, be a real outcry, and we haven't seen it. But the issue that we have is there are standards set, and we live and die by those standards.
And those standards weren't set in Oklahoma. Those standards were copied from other states.
Right. I think, and because to your point, we are medical. I think we're pretty similar to Colorado's medical. Yeah. I know we're a far cry from the recreational rules, or I don't know.
I haven't looked in so long. The last time I really spent time looking at it, we were pretty close to all medical states. Obviously, some states require more pesticide testing than Oklahoma.
I'm pretty sure we're identical to California medical as far as microbial. I think we're identical. I think it's the exact same. I know they have more pesticides.
And I'm fully anticipating the pesticide thing coming back around. I know it was killed this most recent legislative session by the legislators, but I fully anticipate it will come back around. So
I see people pushing for it.
Yeah, I think the main reason it was killed was because the state wasn't ready. The level of accountability for labs wasn't quite where it needed to be. There were...
it's still not.
No.
There's a far cry.
Yeah. I think at the end of the day, it will come back. And, I mean, at the end of the day, I would probably support it within reason. I just think it's something that we have to be careful making business owners' life even more difficult given everything that we're already facing. I mean, there's a lot of issues that we're facing. And that's something I hate to go back to the Greenleaf situation, but like this lab, we'll call it a recall for lack of better words, even though no formal recall has happened. 19,000 packages flipped to test failed. How much does that cost the industry? If 19,000 samples equated to 15 pounds each, just for fun math, 19,000 times 15 pound. What's the average wholesale value of a pound of cannabis right now?
LOL.
$750.
I think a little bit higher.
Maybe higher? Yeah, I've heard it's higher since pre-pack.
Average price per pound, you're saying, is lower than $750?
I'm saying that.
I think it's.
I think that's
I'd
a high
say,
end of average.
And I'm not talking wholesale. I'm talking smokable flower to a dispensary.
we're not. We're not talking
the wholesale
out,
prices.
The wholesale prices, yeah.
Like we're talking indoor.
Well, let's talk out the door to the customer. What do you think it is?
I would say it's on average about $80 to $100. I would say $100 an ounce.
An ounce?
Yeah, I think that might even be high side. Honestly,
I just said it was higher.
I thought we were talking price per pound, and I'm saying like price per pound on decent indoors like around 1,200. Yeah, I mean, yeah, like I don't know if that's the
so
average
out the
number,
door.
but
Let's
I know
call
a lot
it
of people are
1350.
getting that.
Out the door, $1,350 a pound.
All right.
I mean, that's 60 to 80
maybe
bucks,
high, but
there's
yeah,
a discrepancy here, folks.
Well,
there's a discrepancy.
So there's probably
$100.
100 people screaming right now, listening to this show, being like, "Nah, what are you talking about?" But we also hear the weird, like, I'm getting $1,600 a pound, and I always have. Yeah. And then you've got the ones that drop their pants and they'll do the 500s, and it's
for simple math. Let's pretend 19,000 samples were turned to test failed.
Okay.
At 15 pounds of smokable flower per sample.
Okay.
Times $1,000.
Okay.
A pound out the door.
I.
And then let's assume we'll only account for 75% of that because 25% of it, whatever.
Okay.
That's $213 million impact.
Jiminy
Damn,
criminy.
that seems high. Is that right?
But
Well, because every patient has the right to return
Sure.
the product that was purchased too, right? Like, so.
Right.
it-
I mean, yes. Now,
If they
it doesn't
still
say anything
have
about the
it.
right for a refund, but they have the right to return.
oh,
can
it
your
doesn't.
brand
No, I mean,
say
they
no to
don't.
that?
Uh-huh.
Can your brand
Well,
afford
right.
that?
But I'm saying, like, OMA's not forcing anybody to give them their money back. They're just saying the product can be returned.
In the
Well,
event of a formal recall, I think it does put the burden of a recall on the grower processor, but it's financially. But that's specifically to waste disposal, not
Right.
to
That's what I was about to
returning,
say.
retesting, any of that.
Well, and I did see the laboratory in question is offering to pay for the retest. I did see
Well,
that's
hold
circulating.
on.
I haven't seen it come directly from them.
Yeah, I want to
but
caveat
I've seen
that. I wanted to say something so bad, but I didn't. So
nobody's listening.
they said
speak.
They said on that text. So I saw the owner. Someone
It wasn't
screenshotted
the
the
owner,
text.
but yeah,
It was Chris.
it was
wasn't
it was an employee. I think
Are you sure?
it's what I was told. I haven't actually seen the text, so
Okay.
I'm gonna be real careful.
Well, yeah. If it, let's pretend that it was the owner, and I'm not saying it was. We're alleging, and potentially, and all the other adjectives or descriptor words. That
I just
you
saw it
maybe-
shared on
Right.
Facebook by
That's all I'm talking
Medic Mike.
Yeah, that's all I'm talking about.
Shout out Medic Mike.
Shout out, Medic Mike. I hope you're doing well, brother. Love you, man. You
No,
know.
he's great. Yeah.
Only the good die young, so I knew you were fine. But no, that text said if it's a total yeast and mold sample only. That was very specific in that.
TYM only. I did
But that
see
is not what's required.
Nope.
They're not. It's not. OMA's not saying you can just do the total yeast and
No,
mold.
we confirmed that
We
directly with
confirmed
OMA
that with OMA.
twice. I
Twi-
have it.
but-
I have it in writing.
Yeah, there you go.
But let me ask
I
you
got
guys
it in writing.
this. So we're confirmed this because we get confirmed stuff all the time. So is there a world where they only run TYM if that's whatever laboratory decides to do, just to run TYM, and they submit that testing and Metric flips it and
No,
OMA flips it?
don't
OMA
think
has
metrics
is-
OMA has to
OMA has
review
to
every one of
prove it,
those.
yeah.
Well, that's where I'd be curious to know if somebody does that test and
If
they
you-
only run TYM. I'm curious to know if those packages get
If
flipped.
you are watching this episode and you were affected by this and you sent in a package just for total yeast and mold and nobody corrected you,
call us.
call us. We would like to know what the outcome of that was.
Well, because what you want to do, like, don't think you got away with something, because if
It will catch up.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
whether it's now or it's 6 months from now or
In
even
an
longer,
inspection on
somebody
one
is
of
going to
your
realize
clients.
that flub up, and they're going to be like, "Oh no, now this data is not usable either." So it's protect yourself at a bare minimum. Make sure that both tests were ran.
You just fired me up.
But I will
Yeah,
say
boy.
this. Very low chance that happened because OMA did have to review everyone, so I highly doubt that happened.
How about this one, boys? There's some labs out there. You know, we talked about switching to plating for total yeast and mold, right? Many labs have transitioned.
What?
We talked earlier, plating for total yeast and mold. just a little bit.
is great. Yeah.
Many labs
yeah.
in the state of transition to plating.
Well,
Most.
I don't
of
think
them.
anybody is. On
There's a
Alamo.
couple still on.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
still
There's
on
a couple.
PCR for total yeast and mold.
Mhm. There's a
That's
couple.
wild, bro.
But here's what's wild to me. The two major manufacturers of plates is 3M and Hardy Diagnostics.
sure.
And they've been sold and whatnot, but those are
Yeah.
the names
still,
that people
yeah, the namesake of the plate,
recognize.
yeah.
At the end of the day, Hardy Diagnostics 72-hour plate.
Oh,
You
this is spicy. I
cannot
know where
read
you're going.
it until you've been incubated for 72 hours.
Sorry.
But 3M, when they first came out, were 48 hours. Then a couple of years ago, 3M said, guys, it's actually going to be 60 to 72 hours.
I've heard of that. And
Not everybody has changed. There are still labs out there in Oklahoma reading their total yeast and mold plates at 48 hours. Just play this out with me.
Hey.
What if they ran 400 retests for these clients at Greenleaf that had to get redone? So 800 total tests.
Oh shit.
Read them at 48 hours, and then they get inspected in a couple weeks, and OMA sees that they're not following the manufacturer guidelines as required, and then double recalls this.
I bet somebody's calling somebody right now.
That's
I bet
a
somebody's
bad
like,
day.
"Oh, did we do this?" Yeah.
That 200 million just turned into 400 million.
Well, and that's the one common thing that I'm noticing, because we've had a couple other labs having issues to where I've got clients calling me because some people can't meet the demand right now, or they're whatever the issues they're having. It seems like just straight by definition negligence is the biggest problem that we have.
Yeah, what's really bad, and I think I'm not going to defend Greenleaf. I'm not going to talk bad about them either. I really don't know what their situation was. Until OMA or somebody releases more information, I've got to stay a little bit neutral. I don't really have an opinion. Right now, I assume they had an issue in their microbial department because that's what's been told. But there's a possibility where the owners of the lab had no clue that was happening.
Oh, I think that's the most likely case.
You hire reliable people, and you assume they're going to do good science for you, and you try to check them. But we just identified earlier, my family owns this lab. I'm the CEO of the lab, but I'm not a scientist.
Right.
So
right.
all I can do is trust but verify.
Well,
and trust me, I do verify.
How many grows out there can relate to what Matthew just said?
Yep.
How many master growers did you invest your entire life savings into? How many, this is something that's so relatable in our industry on every level.
But at the end of the day, a lot of us are just business owners. We come into this with a business plan, with a long-term goal of trying to make a living for ourselves.
Sure.
And you have to want to trust people that you hire and bring in. And what if this is a situation where an employee made a mistake, didn't have any clue that they made the mistake, or maybe they are doing it intentionally even as an employee, but didn't tell the ownership? And I'm not saying that's what happened here. I'm just playing devil's advocate.
No, we don't know. And generally, people aren't bad people.
No.
You know what I mean?
No.
It's not. I know it's easy to paint a picture. It gets painted about us. It's
all the time.
Generally, people are trying to do the right thing, and that's what I mean when I say
you want to hope they are.
Right. Yeah. I mean, there's some shitheads out there doing shithead things. But for the most part, I think people are trying to do the right way. We go to all these events and we talk to people, and you really put a face to somebody, and you're like they're taking care of their family too. They're trying to have a successful business too. I mean, it's exactly that. Hiring the right people, putting the right people in the right places.
There's at the end of the day, there's very few people in this industry that I've talked to, and at the end of the conversation, I walked away going, that's a bad person. Like they're actually setting out to defraud or something.
Yeah,
I can think of one or two maybe that I've had a conversation with in 6 years, 7 years.
And you were like, oh yeah, without a shadow of a
and
doubt,
they're gone.
Yeah.
They're gone.
Right.
Some of them are in prison right now.
Yeah.
Because they got raided on live TV. It's happened. And then some of them aren't in prison because they decided to flip on people and become narcs. But let's not go into that. You guys, we talked about this yesterday, Brandon. You remember back in the day when snitches got stitches?
Yeah.
Like back in the day, especially in an industry like this, where the guy who was going on Facebook running their mouth, they didn't get to just run their mouth.
No.
They got shut out.
Without consequences.
Yeah.
They would get shut down in the comments and or
taken out
someone
back.
would roll up and beat the piss out of them.
Yeah.
I remember specifically
That's how I grew up.
Someone got never mind. I ain't gonna go too much in detail, but I do remember that somebody may or may not have gotten beaten up on their live stream one time. But
awkward.
That happened.
Let's not start that here today.
No, we don't advocate violence. Don't
we don't advocate it, but I've got it. I'll record it.
Do it the American way. Sue people. You know what I mean? Like that seems to be
this industry is very sue happy right now.
Let me just say
that's kind of
something.
new.
Though. But you know what else? But this industry is not sue happy. Let me tell you what I mean by that. In Oklahoma, we've gotten real, I'm not even going to say spoiled, but nobody's got to feel the wrath yet. So
that's true.
In other states, in Colorado, in Oregon, in California, in Missouri, when you fuck up, like people have fucked up here in Oklahoma, the secondary worry is that you lose your license and have to go to court from your state governing body and catch a small fine there. People get taken to civil court and sued in big boy court, where you can lose
Your
your
livelihood.
possessions, your livelihood, the
Your
shit that you're supposed to
reputation.
go to your kids, your reputation, shit that's not easily. Right now in Oklahoma, the precedent with businesses that have an OMA license is, if you screw up real bad, okay, surrender your license and walk away, and nothing
Yeah.
happens. And now,
That's
with
what
that
we
being
assume.
said,
It's not public, so we don't really
well,
know, but that's what
okay.
we assume.
There's the exception is like if you're straight up doing something
Sure.
illegal, then yeah, OBN gets involved. That's not how that
That's
works, right?
messy.
But I'm talking about if you're violating OMA rules and you're not moving kilos or pounds across the state lines, you know, if there's not a real reason for OBN to get involved, and you just mess up in the eyes of OMA, you kind of just, you know, if you want to operate, maybe you pay a fine, or you have to fight it in court and you hope you win and you get back to operate. But worst case scenario, as far as OMA's concerned, from everything we know as of right now with anything in the history, or you can just walk away and surrender your license, and
Yeah.
that's it.
It
You
is
know, so far.
definitely. I think I've seen some transition there, though. I
Really?
have definitely seen a couple lawsuits filed in the past few months against manufacturers of different products.
Civil or from the state?
civil? No, I've seen some civil lawsuits in Oklahoma.
Yeah, but nothing that's came at fruition.
One of them was pretty simple. Battery catching on fire in a pocket, like pretty simple stuff. That was maybe even not a cannabis store, maybe a vape shop or
Yeah, I
something
think
like
that was.
that.
I think, that's happened a few times.
That's
in the
happened a
vape
few
world,
times, and they won the lawsuit at the end of the day. It was
yeah. I know. Yeah, I've actually talked about this. That's right.
But I have seen at least one lawsuit in Oklahoma now where a manufacturer of a cannabis product was accused of making somebody sick. And that's still an early
It went
stage.
to lawsuit,
yeah, it's
though?
in civil court.
Well, how could
It's still
not?
early
How could
stages.
people not like? So let's say in a crazy world, no recalls ever issued, right? In a crazy world, nothing ever happens. They get back to operating like
Within the next 48 hours is what I've heard.
Well,
Yeah, allegedly.
let's say that happens that way. From me not knowing anything, not being an attorney, I'm like, hold up. The state governing body, the agency that's supposed to ensure people are safe, like how could they allow 2 years, 2.5 years worth of data that we know is not provable, or at least I'm sorry, we don't know. Allegedly, it's not provable. Something in there said that something was going wrong. So we know. I mean, every dispensary in Oklahoma, 80% of their shelf is attached to a company
Something
that
that
tested
came
this
from that
product.
company,
Yeah.
Right. So if you guys are supposed to be ensuring the safety, given everything that is being put out there, and then us seeing the other side of it, seeing the stuff that is failing, so we know there's a high level of unsafe products on dispensary shelves right now.
Allegedly unsafe.
How do they go? How do they not get sued? Because can you like if of all the patients in Oklahoma, whatever that number is, it's a fairly high number. If they were like, you know what, we're going after that because
That's
you didn't
the
protect
problem,
us.
though. You just said the problem. The people get together. That doesn't happen here.
Right.
We don't
Other than
unify
for
shit.
837, we're working on
Yeah.
it.
Now, granted, to get 788, to get 837, we unify for that. But Bud, we can't even get the two damn biggest industry associations to unify.
Right. Which is bananas.
How many industry associations does the cattlemen's have?
Yeah.
The cattlemen's.
The cattlemen's.
I think you answered that one.
And guess
Right.
what? When they want something, they
get it
fucking
done.
get it.
Dude,
Period. Same
Here's
with
my
any other
thing.
one.
This entire conversation is stemmed around micro.
I know.
And
I'm
I
sorry.
don't know. Well, yeah, I hijacked this entire podcast. We've
No,
talked about
thank
labs
you.
the
This is
entire
awesome.
time.
I'm the micro asshole.
But at the end of the day, here's my question. And this is really tough to do without just being questionable here. But if they did make a mistake on 19,000 samples, how are you going to convince me that's all the mistakes they made?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
100%
That's what, that 19 is a fraction. Because in
And
my
I'm not
head,
just thinking micro.
It should be every sample that ever ran through that place for
let's
2
just
gosh
pretend-
damn years.
What if-
should be not like that? Those tests shouldn't mean a thing.
What if
From where I'm sitting,
What if they did something wrong in micro and they knew it? What does that mean about pesticides, heavy metals,
Well,
potency?
I I would be willing to bet that. Never mind.
Obviously, we don't know. There's totally a possibility they didn't. Something crazy happened. They had no clue. If they knowingly made a mistake in one area, why would I ever think that anything they did was ethical?
I mean, well, and that's a tough one, right? Because you can play both sides of that coin, and I think we have actually. And I mean, yeah, if you catch somebody putting their hand in the cookie jar, you're probably going to be looking for that person getting in that cookie jar, for the rest of the time you're around them.
Their hand was probably in a lot more than the cookie
right.
jar.
So and that's the tough thing, and that's something. And we're not saying that, we're not alleging that. That's not the stance of us. But it's a very, very reasonable thing to say.
But I'm going to say something on that though. Testing for pesticides, testing for heavy metals. There's a lot more involved as far as scientifically. It's a more.
Chances are you're not running an off-the-shelf method produced by a third party and just following their user guide for pesticides.
No, it's much more in depth. Like you have to have an actual expert
let me just tell you
in
right
that
now,
lane.
Our pesticide analyst we have, we're
rock
spoiled.
star.
He is an absolute animal. He's
I
a
would
beast.
put him against any pesticide analyst in the state of Oklahoma.
Hell, dude, I would put him up
Maybe
in the
even
top
the
10
United
of
States.
the United States. Like the guy is good, and we're so blessed to have him. Let me just say that.
And not just him. We have a rock star
100%,
team
but
as a whole.
The reason I was highlighting him
Except
specifically.
Micro.
Our micro team
I don't
is
like.
a rock
I don't
star.
like them at all. I'm just playing.
I can stand you.
I'm just playing
I can't
Jordan.
stand
I love you, Jordan.
I
Don't
was
spin out
gonna
on me,
say
Jordan.
beside Shane,
No.
so it's all right.
I'm
I
just
got your back,
playing, Jordan. But for real,
Jordan is awesome.
he's the best.
His department just happened to suck.
Right. I hate you.
No, but no. What I'm saying is I'm specifically talking about pesticides because we've seen how hard it is to even just to get somebody trained up in that department. It's not an easy science to learn. It's not an easy science to, from what I see now. Keep in mind, I'm an uneducated dipshit. From what I'm outsider looking in, it does not appear to be very easy to learn that and to operate it. And I know that when there is a problem with one of our instruments, it takes a lot of brain power from Kelly to line it out and get it going again. Because it's a very complicated science. You're not going to sit here for a second and convince me that labs. Man, this is a flex. This is me laying my wiener out on the table. we got our shit together in our lab, especially in our safety departments. Hell, in all of our departments. But like, you're not going to convince me that some of these labs that I've seen and talked to, some of these guys,
bro,
I'm like, oh my God. You're hiring fucking me's to run in there.
At the end of the day, it's part of our core values as a company. Like, I'm not trying to get all
100%.
like, I'm not trying to get all emotional here, but at the end of the day, that is a big part of who we are as a company, is putting patient safety first. It's not last, it's not second, it's not third, it is first.
Well, and we don't want our brand killed by a recall. Straight up.
At the end of the day, I don't want somebody killed.
Right.
Yeah, 100%.
I want to go to bed at night knowing that we're making a difference in this industry by making sure patients have access to safe medicine. I don't want to be a part of a business that isn't doing that.
And that's
There's
just
no
Matthew,
exception.
guys. I would cheat if he would let me, but it's not up
No,
to me.
me and Brandon literally tell people all the time that bless everything in our lives that we have no control over anything in that lab.
You know what's
because
really cool?
If Shane Davis ran micro, we
wouldn't have fails, brother.
giddy up.
But
Here in a
what's
couple
really
years, we
cool,
might have a
guys,
problem. But
no one in our lab has that much control
No,
to
fair.
actually influence
right.
a result in that way.
Because that's how our process was set up.
A lot of people don't realize that.
I know
Our
I've been trying to
entire
infiltrate
company-
it for 3 years. No,
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Our entire
kidding,
company
guys.
is built
Jesus.
in a system where it goes through so many checks and balances. We have a dedicated quality department that isn't biased. Like, they don't know the client or the analyst, like they obviously they know who they are,
Sure.
but they aren't in a relationship with either one. Like they are
They don't
very
take
much
phone calls.
unbiased. They
They
don't
don't-
take phone calls.
they don't have a
They
bias.
can't be influenced. They're the last line of defense. Before it even gets to them, it goes through a total data review process where the lab director gets to have automated systems
about to say-
and himself to review things. We have a dedicated compliance director who looks at this stuff. We audit ourselves more than the state or ISO audits us.
Sure.
We have so many controls in place.
We have, so just so people are curious, our data is, our analysts enter data into a platform that makes everything very automated. Inside that automated system, it looks for anomalies that are preset by our lab director. So that's step one, if you will. But really, that's step two. Step one is our analysts are actually qualified to be analysts. They went to college for this. They knows what they're doing. They're very good. They get continuing education training. Anytime there's new breakthroughs or we get new equipment or there's a new method, they're trained very thoroughly. Do you know how many fucking emails I see that it's, please read and understand this, and then respond that you read and understand this? And it's just different little trainings. And I see it sometimes. I finally was like, hey, bro, that shit don't even come to me. Please take me off that. I ain't in the lab. Just because I'm, management, so I get to see all this shit. I'm like, hey, take me out of that. I don't need to see that. I had to set up a rule in my email to send all the, if email contains read and understood, send it to spam. No, I'm just kidding.
Right.
Here's what's crazy, guys. I'm going to read something, and I'm not going to tell you guys what I'm reading this off of. Well, I'll tell you what the document is,
Okay.
but I'm not going to tell you who it's about.
Okay.
This is a petition for revocation that OMMA has filed against a laboratory in the state of Oklahoma.
Okay.
And there's several of these, but I'm not going to
yeah.
tell you who this one is about.
Okay. I bet I know.
Upon information and belief arising from a 2023 inspection, 2023, respondent was unable to produce documentation demonstrating that the analytical methods, plural,
Damn.
respondent used were appropriate for its intended purpose, and that deviations did not occur without documented authorizing in writing. Do you guys understand what that means?
Break it down for the layman.
It's this simple. When we deploy a method in our laboratory, we must validate that that method would actually do what its intended purpose is. So when we want to test for pesticides, we deploy a method. We have to validate that method that it actually works, that it can actually find pesticides. This is straight off of a petition for revocation, that the methods deployed by a laboratory were not validated for their intended purpose.
So there's no way to know.
So they don't even know if they work.
Wow.
This petition for revocation was filed a long time ago. But it was in 2025. A 2023 inspection revealed that they hadn't validated their methods in their filing a petition for revocation in 2025.
You got to be shitting me.
Well, there was and that's like the slow process of this. It drives me crazy, man. Like, odds are, I mean, because nobody's been Genesis, right? I guess. Well, I'll name them. Did they actually get shut down?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Other than them, who's
glorious
been
fashion.
shut down in let's say in the
Gosh,
last
that's
year?
tough.
Bud
Yeah.
testing, Canalytics.
That's farther than a year.
Let's say in the last
Let's
year.
just go from the beginning because it's a short list. We've had buds
That
out
was
in
from
like
outside the year.
yeah, we'll go all
Okay,
of them.
I-
Buds out in what, Duncan?
Yep. Genesis.
Canalytics in Weatherford, Genesis in Grove / Broken Arrow ?
Scale.
Scale Labs in
LOL,
Oklahoma
that, by
City.
the way. Fast Labs.
Fast Labs was the first one.
They were the first one I ever used.
Yeah, I think those are the 5 that have been formally shut down, or 6.
I think
I
we're
can't
missing-
count.
That's 5, but we're missing one. I know.
There's been several that have shut down,
To avoid,
perhaps
yeah.
to avoid being shut down. But I think those are all the ones that have been emergency suspended.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, and impacted customers at that level. And you know what's crazy is the majority of those were emergency suspended. How many recalls has the state had?
None.
No.
we've
I
had
mean,
recalls.
okay.
Scale?
I'm sorry. I didn't for that reason.
Yeah.
I think none.
Scale.
I
Scale
think
Labs
the
had a recall.
only one, and I'm going to do a quick look here. OMA, recalls, and embargo. I think our total embargoes,
6. We've had
there
6 embargoes,
is
I think.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's it.
Okay, so and this is I'm putting.
But I just listed 6 labs that have been suspended in an emergency fashion, and we didn't even mention Greenleaf. 7. So how do we only have 6 recalls?
So my problem, where my brain goes on this, is conspiracy wise, is them not having their laboratory set up, the state lab. Is that an issue with them verifying these kind of things?
Not really. I mean, all that real. I mean, maybe. Well, yes, it could potentially.
Like, do you
catch
see
it
what I'm
quicker.
saying
Yeah.
on that?
So, in theory, that will help because, like, okay, we had a state contracted lab. That was what Metis was doing.
Right.
Now they compete with us, which I'm not saying anything bad about them, but that in itself bothered me because I don't know the exact reason why they lost the state contract, but I know it was.
I do.
Okay, can you say it?
I mean, don't if you can't.
I mean, it's at the
Was
end of the
it
day,
any
it's
type of
public record.
improper testing?
This is dangerous, but it is open record.
Tell us to shut up.
I will summarize and say that I believe,
Okay.
could be wrong.
You heard a rumor.
I read something along the lines of they could not pass their own proficiency test.
Okay, so let me
There
ask
were
you
other
this.
reasons, like they didn't have
Is-
contractual requirements
loud.
weren't being met.
Is it just me, or is it not fucking wild that got them to lose the state contract, but they're allowed to fucking compete against us in testing customers?
It is wild to me.
I'm not trying to get all
And here's the one thing I'll
steal,
say.
kill,
to
and
that,
destroy, but
though.
Jesus
Here's
Christ.
I'll play devil's advocate. You can violate the terms of a contract and be terminated,
Sure.
and you can fix your problems and then come back.
Sure.
Right.
And that
right.
may have happened.
I would venture to say even the worst labs that have been shut down, if they are willing to fix their problems, I don't necessarily have an issue with them coming back
I agree.
if they fix their problems.
But what's that take to make sure that happens, Matthew?
Oversight. At
Right.
the end of the day, it takes oversight. And from what I've seen, from some of the labs I've seen that have been penalized, at the end of the day, they are agreeing to further oversight. It's not like there's labs who are operational today that have been in trouble with the state,
Yeah.
paid fines, gotten in trouble, and they have additional scrutiny. They have to undergo additional tests,
Sure.
Let me restart. My train of thought's off. They do have to go through additional inspections, maybe even give raw data to the state on a routine basis and so on during a probationary period. And then once they've demonstrated that they will adhere to the rules, then they might be released.
Okay.
And I don't have an inside knowledge here, guys. I just read. I ask for information, and
You FOIA request.
if I get it, yeah. Yep, and I think I've probably submitted close to 100 FOIA requests, and I might
Probably
have
got
gotten
15
back
of them, maybe?
maybe less than 10.
Yeah. Here's the other thing, too. I'm not going to say names, but this has not happened as of yet. However, it is the second part of this is in the process of potentially happening right now, depending on the administrative court. We'll see what happens. I'm not going to say names yet until it happens, if it happens. This is all public record, though. Once again, you just got to ask for it. Typically, when a lab or any other OMMA licensed business gets their wee-wee slapped for doing something bad,
I like how you said bad.
yeah, or by doing something against OMA's rules or whatever, they typically sign some sort of piece of paper, and I know this is I know this is the fact with some
consent agreement.
A consent agreement, and is that the agreement that basically says if you fuck up again, we could potentially fast lane this and get you
They're
out
all
of here?
different.
Okay, but most of them sign something that says from now on or for some sort of amount of time, you got to be real good, and if you're not real good, you're out of here.
Like a probation.
Basically, there is a lab, potentially, I think, you know where I'm going with this, Matthew.
The one that's going to trial? Is that what you're going?
That has gone through administrative court once.
Already paid a
six-figure fine.
Went through a consent
Went
order.
through the consent
resolved
order. And resolved it. And is now back in administrative court for new violations that are not related to those violations.
And
That's
their
happening
fines
right
total up over $70 million.
If they don't
found guilty
settle or
and
found guilty and
blah,
all
blah,
that.
blah.
Dude, I had a lab that wasn't the lab that got shut down in the last week. A lab that's still fully operational. That they had a client jump over and try us out. Had never heard of a sample field log.
No, I know.
Had never seen the form. Never heard of it. Didn't know that was a requirement. And on top of that, the way that their stuff was submitted through on Metric was completely out of compliance. Like, we have a hammer that works with us that she catches everything before it makes it to us. Before we go pick it up, we have somebody that's working down it,
Reviewing the
making sure
manifest.
that it's compliant, not just for us,
For
but for you guys.
For two things. She looks at every manifest that's transferred to us and makes sure that, A, there's nothing on there that would put us out of compliance by accepting it. But in the process of that, she also looks for, now this is not something we direct her to do. I mean, let me say this. We do encourage her to do that. We just have to be very careful. OMA has made it very clear that they do not want us giving compliance advice to customers. So because of that, we don't give compliance advice to customers.
Nope.
But I might tell you what I would do if I had to grow or if I was a processor.
Or he might not.
Or I might tell you how I interpret the rules and encourage you very heavily.
Or he might not.
Yeah, but I encourage you to very, very heavily do your own research, lean on your own understanding.
This was a
Let me
brand.
finish this thought real quick. These people, or I mean, are for Ashley. I don't know why fuck I'm trying to hide her name. Ashley is a fucking stud. She's a
No
hammer.
one's still her.
She's a killer. No, she can't. I'll kill you. That's not
Legitimately.
Bleep that, please.
No. I will resolve that one.
Yeah,
She's not going anywhere.
I will diddy your ass. Hold on.
Ooh,
Hold on.
Too far.
No, I won't. 'Cause
He might
that would
be innocent.
sexual. Grab the baby oil. Anyways, thank you. That
was a little late.
Scared me. They're all late. That's kind of the joke now. But no. But in the process of her checking for our compliance to make sure that we're not going to accept something that puts us out of compliance, she also looks, because she's very good at Metric, period. She's been in several other businesses before here, dispensary, processor. She helps people with their used to help people with their compliance, and I mean with their Metric basically. But she will check to see if there's anything that could potentially put you outside of compliance as a business. Lock up your package, anything. And then she will text me and say, hey, it happened today. She texted me. Matter of fact, I won't say the customer's name, but I'll send you exactly what she texted me.
Could be anything from strange,
Absolutely. This
like
is just an
weird,
example.
erroneous names that don't make sense.
So
item
she sent me a
names.
picture of a manifest portion of a production batch number. Actually, the whole thing was circled. And she said, will you please let blank know that they've got their source package for the transfer on this, LOL. Yeah. And we're LOLing it not because it's like, you dumbass. It's like, caught one.
Yeah, you could have left
Let
that
him
off.
know. You know what I mean? Yeah, no, my brain said it. Yeah.
That's the inadvertent way of patting ourselves on the back for helping a customer, because that would be a nightmare.
Yes.
Well,
It's not that. Here's the deal, guys. Like, we're human. Humans make
absolutely.
mistake. It happens. We have controls in place to limit those mistakes, but we're humans. We totally understand when a customer makes a mistake. It happens, but we don't want it to hurt their business. So if we can employ somebody like a rock star like Ashley that can help us catch those,
Absolutely.
why wouldn't we do that?
Right.
Yeah.
We have to do that. We want to help our customers.
If they're winning, we're winning.
Absolutely.
And that's the whole point of this.
Yeah.
You said it earlier.
If they're passing, we're winning.
Right.
If they have product on the shelves, they're winning. With one caveat, it's got to be safe product.
Yeah.
Because
Safe,
if it's
compliant.
not safe, guess what? They're losing. You know, one of my favorite things, Cole is that boy squeaks when he walks. He's so
he
clean.
is tight and
He's
clean.
Yeah, I don't know about the tight part, but we won't go there.
I know.
But at the end of the day, the boy squeaks when he walks. He's
Yep.
that clean. He's that just upright. Like, he's got to be ethical in everything he does, and I love him for it. But one of my favorite things he told me when I was very first interviewing was he said, Matthew, if I get this job, I would be your lab director, but that's not really my job. My job is to help you keep the money you make in your pocket. Instead of paying that money out in lawsuits and fines and in whatever
Corrective
else can
measures,
happen,
whatever, yeah.
my job is to help you stay compliant so you don't have to be in that situation.
That boy good.
That boy's good.
Now that
He
boy's
is.
good.
I hate them.
In my eyes, I
love you,
see
Cole.
our lab playing that role on our client's behalf. If Patients for Safe Access goes into a dispensary and buys a product that was tested by our lab and it fails for pesticides that we didn't detect, that doesn't hurt us as a lab. Yeah, it looks bad, but it doesn't really hurt us. Who it hurts is the brand that's getting drug on Facebook or getting drug wherever because they have an unsafe product.
Right.
That's bad for business. We don't want our brands to have that situation. No different than we don't want our brands transferring us their whole 15-pound source package and then not being able to sell anything because it's locked up in a metric ticket.
Yep. And let me just tell you right now, guys, this is something that I encourage you very, 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 very heavily. If you're a processor, especially, grower processor, but especially the processors. Right now, guys, OMA has, since final package rule came out, they have had a rule about production batch size. It's like million milligram, which is 1,000 grams. Okay, they've never really enforced it since they unraveled that metric update that forced it. Day one. As of 2 weeks ago, about 90% of every metric ticket we submit right now is not getting unlocked because when they're basically using it as a lottery system to look at your product, look at your package. That's a bad example of saying look as a lottery, but they're overanalyzing every metric ticket.
Yeah.
When we submit it, like, so for instance, we had a customer that had a naming issue. They just named something incorrectly, not a major issue, it's like something silly. They said, hey, can you open a ticket for us? And that's the other thing. Our customers know they can call us and say, will you open a ticket for us? Yeah, we got you, brother. If it's something that makes sense for the lab to be involved in, right? Now, if it's some shit you did prior to the lab testing or post-lab testing, we don't get involved in it, and I don't even think we could if we wanted to. But if it's anything that happens or happens during the process of testing, improper naming, reserve retest that we retested and it passed and it needs to get flipped, anything like that, we'll open the metric ticket for you. We'll CC you on it just so you know it's getting done. Don't have to deal with it. We've done it 100 times. We're doing it millions, thousands of times. We have templates for damn near every reason you would need to.
I'm afraid metric support knows us all by name by now.
Oh yeah,
it's kind of scary.
Well, we saw that when we went to the metric conference.
Yeah.
They knew who we were.
When she came up and gave me a hug, and I was like, "Who is this?" It was pretty crazy.
I just thought she wanted you.
No,
I thought she was like Zam Zaddy.
married.
Since when has that stopped you? You're an animal. Kidding. You don't even look at
Heck, are you talking?
I was gonna say you don't even look at women below the chin. Never mind.
I think we're gonna have to have a talk in the morning. Actually,
HR.
Yeah.
That's twice this week, pal.
Here we
Calm
go
down.
again. No.
whoa.
Okay, check this out really quick. We've got to wrap.
I
guys.
got one more thing too.
Let's hear it.
I think we've spent a lot of time talking about maybe not so good labs. There are some really good labs in Oklahoma, and I don't think we give the industry enough credit if we don't acknowledge that.
Yeah, us. Okay, CTL.
OKCTL, I'm biased, of course. I think we're great.
We're the best.
But there are other really good labs in the state as well.
Name one.
I don't know that I can go that far.
Fucking name it.
No,
No, I've got.
they're good labs.
That's right. 'Cause there ain't
And
shit. No, I'm kidding.
At the end of the day, there's things like
We're haters.
There's associations like the Professional Cannabis Association that has a laboratory committee where I think it's safe to say over half the state's labs right now are
Yeah.
participating in the laboratory committee, and they're actually working together to self-regulate each other, hold each other accountable, and improve themselves to make sure that they're doing testing that goes above and beyond even the requirements that are out there to ensure patient safety.
I know you don't watch our episodes, but we tend to talk about the PCA
Oh, for
about
sure,
every
yeah,
episode.
which is awesome. I think it's great, but I do think we have to acknowledge they're really good labs.
100%.
And
They really are.
I think there's a few bad apples. I think we're down to, when I looked the other day, I think we're down to 19 total labs in the state.
15 active.
3 of them are non-operational. One of them's had a license for a couple of years but never opened, and a couple new ones that are coming on board. I don't know when they'll open, if ever. And then
Elevate,
one
who's
is
no longer there,
one's recently shut down. So that's 15
Not by the
operation-
state. They decided to close their doors.
something
because
else.
Business.
Yeah,
Just
but
slow.
at the end of the day, 15 laboratories in the state left, and there's, I believe last I looked, 7 on the PCA lab committee. They're working really hard
Yeah.
to be above board.
Yeah.
And I think that says a lot. And if I could leave anything with our viewers, with your guys' viewers, with this awesome audience you guys have
All these Berniacs.
brought
All
together.
4 of the Berniacs out there. No,
Hey,
I'm
there's
kidding.
like 16. Give yourself credit. And 4 of them are Neat Media House.
Yeah. I hate you.
Oh, I'm just kidding. But at the end of the day, there are really good labs. If you're looking for a new lab and you haven't chosen us for some crazy reason, talk to the labs. Ask them if they're participating in one of these organizations. The only one I'm aware of is the PCA. Talk to them.
Yeah.
Ask them those questions. Ask them how long they're plating their total yeast and mold for.
Ooh, yes. Or ask them when they read their plate.
Exactly.
Ask
Yeah.
the questions. If
It is okay to interview these people.
Absolutely.
We are a vendor that works for you. You can ask us questions. You can challenge us. You can ask to tour our facilities. You can ask to meet the laboratory director. You can actually do due diligence on the vendors you're working with. And you should.
Absolutely.
Take the time. It doesn't take long.
We actually will. I'm going to say this now, and because I'm saying it's going on the podcast. Matthew has to do it now. The link to our socials should be in this video in the description. You should
out
see
of
our
my
social
control.
and our okctail.com. We will post something that are some maybe 5 to 10 questions of what should I ask my lab to
How do you what question
how do
should
I
you
interview
use
the
to interview
laboratory
lab? Yeah.
that I'm using or that I'm potentially using?
Hey,
we will
Cole, if
post
you're
those.
watching, you've been
Cole,
assigned a
we're
new
gonna
task.
need you to get on that, brother. Sitting at home ain't doing shit. No, I'm kidding.
No.
Anyways, so
I'll even give him a grading rubric.
come on. I love that.
Yeah.
I do
I
got to do
won't
one
do it,
thing
but Cole
fun that
will.
we got to end on because it's kind of been a thing. I gotta give you guys my random trivia, but before we go,
I
do you guys
lose.
have anything, Dad?
No, I'm good to get. I'm about to pee out my eyes.
Oh yeah, it's better than peeing out of your butt, I guess.
It's fair.
Who's the first guest you got? Like, not who. What's the first type of guest you want to have besides the boring?
Somebody fun. We want somebody.
Not me.
Honestly, I'll be
No,
honest
you've
with you,
been
bro.
fun. This has
I'm
been
talking.
cool.
I talk shit about you every chance I can, but this has been one of my favorite episodes. Straight up, this
Yeah,
was.
this was
it
cool.
was very much like there wasn't a whole lot of fun tone to this, but I think this is probably the most productive episode one of the most productive episodes we've
We
had.
got into a lot of things.
We got into a lot of things. We really leaned in heavily on
Labs.
a current event that is actually something that's needed to be, not necessarily needed to be talked about, but is being talked about. And that's the other thing. There's a lot of shit that's being said on these posts, guys. Don't believe everything that's being said, especially some of
Do
the in
your own
responses to.
research.
Do your own research. Okay.
Do your own FOIA request.
I'm going to go ahead and hit you guys with one. I'm going to hit you with 2, actually. Which country was the first to legalize cannabis for recreational use?
Joe. Jamaica.
Okay. Matthew?
Bro, I'm the worst person to
Just
ask this
give
to.
me an
Canada.
and Uruguay.
Yeah, I never got that. All right, number
me-
two.
me-
That's a
one more.
country.
What does 420 symbolize in cannabis culture?
It's a date.
Well, so it's a time that a group of these kids would go meet at to go smoke.
It's not a date.
No, it was an actual time.
You basically just answered it. It is a time and code. It is a time that basically turned into a code for cannabis consumption, originating with a group of California high school students.
So we did a reel about this.
Yeah,
You
you're
forgot,
right.
yeah.
I did. We did.
Because I had to jump in and read about it because it was a question that was asked. So then I did my deep dive and I was like,
All right. 2 more, and then we're done. I'm really done.
Come
they're quick
on, bro.
ones. In what country is hashish thought to have been originated? Or, excuse me. In what country is hashish thought to have originated?
Amsterdam.
I got nothing.
India.
That makes
I
all
can
the
see
sense in
that.
the
And
world.
last but not least, which U.S. state is the largest producer of legal cannabis? Now, this was
Ooh.
as of.
This could be a good one.
I'll tell you this. It looks like it's going to be tricky. This was in it says 2025.
Is this black market,
Yeah, right.
green market,
Oklahoma.
gray market? What are we talking here? Are we including hemp?
Well, the answer is California.
I was going to say.
I was
yeah.
gonna say
I was trying
California.
to steer you guys away from it. All right, we got to go. This was a great episode.
Yep.
We're definitely doing this again.
Absolutely.
Debatable.
And yeah, this I am Brandon Fountain,
I'm Shane Davis.
and he is,
I'm Matthew Phillips.
and we are
The Controlled Burn.